Thank you so much for tuning in with us here at Seven City Church. Our prayer is that this message would help you know Christ, encourage you to experience community, and help you influence culture like never before. We hope you enjoy today's message. What's up, everybody? Y'all doing all right? Man, nothing says 4th of July weekend like one big service all together. And here's the deal. I don't think any less of anyone that's not here today, but I do think more of the people that are here today, or if you're watching online, come on, extra credit for you guys. Here's the deal. I know this one's going to be a message people will be watching through the week. They're going to come back and find. But man, I'm honored to have the chance to share with you guys this series. I get to be back next Sunday as well and share that with you and have part 2. But this week, we're going to dive right in. You guys ready? Come on, just buckle up a little bit. The louder you are, the faster I'm gonna get you out of here. Can I get an amen? Come on. So, I know you guys are hungry. You're like, we came to church, but I'm hungry, right? And I'm gonna talk about food in a little bit too, so that might be really bad for me. Let's be honest. In life, we find ourselves in waiting seasons often. Today, you might be waiting for this service to be over, right? Some of you waited in traffic, which probably not, it's Sunday morning, but you wait in traffic often. You know what it feels like to wait for something. Waiting seasons come, they're awful, they're not fun, they're excruciating. And today I wanna help you kind of wade through a waiting season. And I wanna start, they're gonna throw a picture of a map up on the screen for you. And I wanna use the story of the Israelites to really help you understand some waiting today, to kind of give you some point of reference. This is a map of the Israelites' journey from Egypt to the Promised Land, and you kind of see it's a little crazy here, but the Israelites are enslaved for 400 years in Egypt. Moses comes. Come on, if you've seen the movie, right? Moses comes, he's like, let my people go. And so he's fighting to get the people out of there. There's the plagues. All this stuff is going on. Finally, the Pharaoh's like, all right, take them. Take these people out of here. I'm tired of all this trouble. Get them out of here. And so the Israelites start taking off, and they get to the Red Sea, and then Pharaoh changes his mind. This is a lot of stuff going on in this story, but we all know the famous moment. This is one of the biggest moments in the Bible where Moses and the Israelites are backed up against the Red Sea. Moses has his staff, and he literally puts it in, and the water split in two, right? So they make their way across on dry ground. They're getting out of there. Then the waters close in on the Egyptians. It's just epic movie moment, right? So you see their journey begin to take place, and then they continue to go into the wilderness, and stuff is going on. They're trying to figure some things out. They don't really, some of them are I'd rather go back to Egypt and be a slave. And just so much is happening and unfolding in this as God has promised them the Promised Land, but they find themselves in a season of waiting. And if you look at the map, you'll see this little, it's kind of like a little squiggly. Think of a deformed oval, I guess, if you will. You'll see point 11 and 12, and hopefully if you're watching online, they'll put that up on there for you. Point 11, point 12, and then all the way to point 13. That little thing right there takes quite a bit of time. And let me just put this even in more perspective for you. To go from point A in Egypt to the very end of the journey to the Promised Land was 175 miles. Okay, 175 miles, that's a distance. But just to put that into perspective for you today, if I were to get in my car right out in the parking lot, and if I were to drive to the Austin state capitol today, it would be 192 miles. In my car, I could make it pretty quickly, most likely without a stop. I'm making it in 3 hours and 20 minutes, pretty quick. And that's in a car that's going 70, sometimes 80 miles an hour, right? I'm putting the pedal to the metal. I'm getting there. I'm trying to trim off time for what it says I'm supposed to get there. But I'm trying to get there as fast as possible. And you look at this, it's 175 miles from point A to point B. But when they get to this little circle, deformed circle part right here, 11, 12, and 13, it takes them 39 years. Let that sink in for a second. What I can do in my car in just a few hours, it takes them 39 years to get to the Promised Land. And you're like, Seth, well, why does it take so long? Because here's what we have to understand. They find themselves in a waiting season because God kind of presses the pause button, and he's like, you guys aren't quite ready for the Promised Land. I want to give it to you. I've been trying to get you there, but you're not quite ready yet. Waiting. You ever been in a waiting room? Right? Nowadays, you just wait in your car, right? They don't make you come into the waiting room as much anymore. Thanks, COVID. It's actually an improvement because I can hang out in my car and all that stuff now, but waiting rooms are not a fun place to be. Waiting from here to there, no one enjoys being stuck in the middle. No one likes waiting for that next season because here's what we do in life. We get here and we see where we want to get to, fill in the blank. It could be getting that job increasement, right? Like moving up on the chain. It could be, we want to have this many kids. It could be, I want to graduate with this degree. It could be whatever you want it to be. No matter where you find yourself at, you will find yourself in a waiting season pretty quickly. If you're not in a waiting season right now, just wait till tomorrow. Just wait till lunch, right? And you're at the restaurant and you're waiting for them to bring out your food. You will find yourself in a waiting season in 0.3 seconds. I mean, you find yourself there and you're desperate. You're so sick of it. You're ready to get from where you are to where you want to be. You're sick and tired of being in the middle. Anybody ever been there before? You're just desperate to get to the next thing. You're desperate to get past where you've been, to get past where you are, for something over there to be better and to change things in your life. You're ready. New car, getting married, having kids, the relationships, the job, the next house, retirement. I mean, we find ourselves on this place, and it starts at a young age, because here's the deal. You're like birthed into this world and you find yourself waiting for things. Like our culture, we find ourselves waiting for the next thing. Like when you're a kid, you can't wait to go to the next grade or go to school. And I don't know, like that's the biggest disappointment in life. I don't know, right? Like you're like, can't wait to get to school. And then you get to school, you're like, oh, this is what I waited for. All right. And then you get into elementary school and like, I can't wait to be like a teenager. That's the biggest mistake of your life. Like, I don't know about you guys. If I had a time machine, I would have skipped past 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Like the worst years of my life. You know what I mean? Like no one enjoys middle school. But then you're in middle school and you can't wait to be in high school. And then you get in high school and then you can't wait to get the keys to mom and dad's car. Freedom. Come on, today is Independence Day. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like you wanted to get those keys, get behind the wheel and go do whatever you want. And then you had to pay a car payment maybe, or insurance and gas and all the responsibilities that come with it. And then, okay, so you start driving and then you want to graduate high school, right? Like you want to flip that tassel over, you want to put the cap and gown on and be like, I'm out of here, right? And then you become an adult and you're like, what was I thinking, man? Like, why would I want to do that? Why did I wish this upon myself? But you keep going, and it goes from graduating high school to getting a career, going to college, finding the love of your life, right? Making those friends, moving up in your career, and then it's like at some point you just get to a place and you're like, well, what am I waiting on? Like, I don't want to die, right? Like, I don't really want to go yet. So what do we wait on? We find ourselves in this continual place of waiting on the next thing. And usually what happens is we get there and we realize like, man, I don't know why I wanted to get here so bad. And a lot of times, here's what I've learned. Here's the big thing. A lot of times in a waiting season, we think it's wasted time. We're stuck right here. We see where we want to get to. We feel like we are just twiddling our thumbs, wasting away because we can't wait to get over there, but we're right here and there's space in between and we're frustrated, we're disappointed, we're so unexcited about our life. You been there? Am I the only one? And something I want to help you understand today, something that I really think could change the game in your life. Maybe you're watching online like, I think this is for you today. We all need this. We need to begin to walk in this. And here's the truth. Here's the realization that I think can free you up in the life that you live. And here's what it is. Waiting seasons don't have to be wasted seasons. Just because I'm waiting to get to something doesn't mean I'm wasting away, that the time has to be wasted, that I have to be bored, that I have to be discontent with my life. It doesn't have to be wasted. And today I want to walk you through this idea and help you begin to find some things in your life that can help you not waste the time that I think God wants to use for you. What we see as possible wasted time, God sees as an opportunity. And my prayer for you today is that it can help just nudge you in the right direction, and it can help you find some contentment in the middle. We don't like being stuck in the middle, right? Like nobody wants to be in the middle of something unless it's an Oreo, praise God. You don't want to be there. And oftentimes we automatically default to wasted time. And today I've got a few things that I think can help you. You guys ready? Everybody say, I'm ready. The first thing is this. There's wonder in the wander. Two totally different words, one letter difference. There is wonder in the wander. Now, if you looked at the map a minute ago and the journey that the Israelites went on, this season of time was called the wandering, where they wandered through the desert, time wasted away, they were waiting. And today, I want to help you just really try to understand that even in a wasted season, right? Even when you would qualify time as I'm waiting, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, instead of it just being that, you can begin to find some wonder in the wander. That even in a waiting season, there's good things there that you can begin to find, and they change your perspective on the season you find yourself stuck in right now. I don't know, think about it for a second, right? How could I find something good? How could I get to where I really want to be? And here's something that I've learned, and I think it's something that can help you really figure out this wonder thing, and it's this. God is more concerned with who you're becoming than where you're going. Think about that for just a second, right? God cares a lot more about who you are than what you do. And in the world we live in, that is completely countercultural. The world we live in, they want you to perform. They want you to execute things. They want you to get the to-do list done. God's not so much concerned about the to-do, but he cares about the who. God cares more about your heart and your mind and who you're becoming more than anything else. And when you begin to understand that and live in that freedom, because that's really what it is, your life begins to be freed up. And when you find yourself frustrated, you can come to God, the all-powerful creator God, and say, God, why am I waiting right here? Why do I feel stuck? Why am I disappointed? Why am I frustrated? And he's gonna say, you know what, I'm working on you. God takes bad things all the time, and he begins to work them for our good. And even in a waiting season, even stuck in the middle, he's trying to help you become something. A verse that I love is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. It's a popular verse. It says, "For we are God's masterpiece." Today, I want that to sink in for a second, because a lot of you wouldn't really, like if I said, how would you describe yourself? I'll be honest, I don't think I would say that I'm a masterpiece. My wife would probably say that. I probably would say that. She would probably, you need to calm down, right? Like, you're not as good as you think you are. But you're a masterpiece. Something that I personally feel called to as a pastor, as a communicator of the gospel, is to look people in the eye that don't think they're worth much and to look at you and say, you are God's masterpiece. God created you to do incredible things beyond your imagination, and yet your imagination is what's holding you back. You not being willing to seek God in a waiting season is what's holding you back. You're a masterpiece. And it doesn't matter what label's been placed on you. It doesn't matter what somebody said about you years ago that you still think about on like daily, right? It doesn't matter that label that was thrown on you, and it's something that hurts you, but it's been seared into your heart and your mind. God is looking at you no matter where you are, no matter what you've done, and he's saying you are a masterpiece. There is greatness inside you, but maybe you've got to stop being so mad about where you're at right now. All the discontent, all the frustration that's built up. And you say, God, it doesn't matter about where I'm going. I want to care about the things that you care about, and you care about who I'm becoming. Wouldn't that just free you up in the life that you live? Wouldn't that just change things for you when you wake up in the morning and you're frustrated with that job? You're frustrated with your current circumstance. And you're waiting to get to something else. When you realize God is growing you and he's stretching you and he's intentionally focused on you becoming who he created you to be. Amen. Man, that kind of adds a little like breath of fresh air. I don't know about you guys, like to know that I don't have to be something, I have to become something. We all feel like we've got to just rush and become everything we've got to become to do what we're supposed to do, but it's less about doing and it's more about becoming. And when you begin to figure that out, that's when your waiting season isn't wasted. I love this church. I love that our vision is to help you grow. It's to equip you so that we can see cities transformed. And that doesn't happen without looking at people and calling out that greatness and equipping people to do what they've been called and created to do. Aren't you thankful to be a part of a church like that? Man. And here's something I kind of blame all this on. Are you ready for this? Like, I blame our American culture, gotta get to the next thing, on one very basic, simple household item. You ready for this? Got it sitting right here. You've been wondering what this is for minutes, right? Come on. You've been like, what's over there under the curtain? I'm gonna show you because I've already lost you, right? Oh, got the cloth here. It's a microwave. We love the microwave. At my house, the microwave is king. Dinosaur chicken nuggets. Anything, right? Anything can go in the microwave. We love the microwave. Why do we love the microwave? It's fast. You don't have to preheat it. Praise God, right? You don't got to go turn the propane on and get a fire going. Like, can you believe people used to cook things over open flame like all the time? Fools. All you got to do is create a little box that beeps, you know what I mean, and hums. This is one of the greatest things that's ever happened because you don't got to spend all the time making some food that you just eat in a few minutes and it's done, right? Are you ever get mad about the preparation time for food and then you actually look at the amount of time you actually spend eating the food? It doesn't equal out, I promise you. You're just going to be disappointed, right? I blame this thing on our mentality. We have a microwave mentality. We want everything right now. You ever sat in a drive-thru? And if you wait more than a few minutes, you're like, this is not fast food. My wife gets so mad at me. I'm like, come on. I'm like, I'm about to start honking the horn or something. Like, that's going to do a whole lot. That's going to change everything, right? Why can't everybody just work like Chick-fil-A? I don't know. It's not fast enough. We have the microwave mentality because all we've got to do is come to a box, open it, pop it in for 30 seconds, a minute and a half, and we're solid. And then you just burn your mouth really bad, right? Those Hot Pockets, man, they come back to bite you. What you thought was a good idea. But here's the real honest truth. Let's just fast forward a little bit. I know it's the 4th of July, but let's fast forward to Thanksgiving, one of my favorite holidays. You got your stretchy pants on because that's what you wear on Thanksgiving, right? And you show up to grandma's house, mom's house, maybe your house. God bless you if it's your house. And you see the person preparing the Thanksgiving turkey that you've been waiting all year for, and you see them pop that frozen thing into the microwave. You're contemplating what you're doing with your life. You're like, hold on. And I pull my wife aside, I'm like, we got to DoorDash something right now. Like, I can't eat something out of the microwave. Like, you've waited all year long for something that I would say is more of a masterpiece. You don't put a masterpiece in the microwave. Okay, let me make it real. Today is the 4th of July. Who's grilling out today? Come on, who's got the smoker going right now, right? Today after church, I'm gonna go to my parents' house to a brisket that's been smoking for hours. Not 4 hours, 4 hours. It's a masterpiece. But if I walked into my parents' house today and I saw them shoving a very expensive hunk of meat prices these days, y'all, it's crazy. If I saw them shoving the brisket in a microwave and just going beep, 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 I'm walking out. I guess I'm going to Whataburger. Because I'm not gonna eat something that should be incredible and juicy and hours upon hours of becoming something and becoming a masterpiece when they threw it in the microwave and it's gonna be a little crunchy in places and it's gonna be a little gooey in some places and it's not gonna be good. We have a microwave mentality. And we take our lives, we take who we are, we take everything that just makes up who we are and we shove it in the microwave and we go beep, 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 and you know what I'm talking about. You've been there. Late at night when you needed just a little something, right? Just ding, ding, ding. You're a masterpiece. You can't shove yourself, you can't shove your life into the microwave and expect what God has been planning for you and preparing for you your entire life. You can't take everything that he's trying to make you and help you become in a microwave world when he's saying, no, you are a masterpiece. I am making you everything you are in the season that you're in, one step at a time. And it takes time, and it's frustrating, and it's hard, but it's in those seasons that you can begin to find the wonder in your wander. You can find the wonder in your waiting, and that's when the light bulb blinks, and you're like, that's what I've been waiting for. It's not just to get over there. It's not to have arrived, right? Like, you're never going to arrive. You've got to become. My prayer for you is that you can step out of this waiting game that the world has shoved down your throat, and you can begin to live in the freedom that is, I am trying to play the waiting game the way God has called me to, the way he's created me to, and I want to stretch it out, and I want to get every last drop of who he's creating me to be. I want to learn every last lesson that I can learn in the frustrating moments of my life and say, God, teach me. Help me become. I think that can change the way you walk through a waiting season. I think it can change big things for you. Here's a couple questions I want to ask, and we're going to point to. What can I learn? How can I grow from this season? You're probably frustrated right now. You walked in the doors and it's weighing on your shoulders. What can you learn? How can you grow right now? It's a good question to ask. Second question is this: what am I doing right now that's helping me become who God has called me to be? What are you doing right now? The second thing is this. We're finding the wonder in the wander, right? Like, we're trying to leverage these moments. We're trying to look at this space in between and grow from it and glean from it and become, right? But the second thing is, I've realized we have really bad memories. Anybody have a bad memory in here? My wife is like, I told you about that 2 days ago. If I don't remember it, it must not have happened. I don't know. We have really bad memories. Maybe you got like the steel trap, but sometimes you're going to forget things that pop up and that are important. And here's what I've learned. A lot of us, we get to a place in life where we even begin to forget what God's done in our lives. It's a dangerous place to live. So point two, this is what it is. Monuments over memories. Everybody say monuments over memories. Here's what I've learned. Memories begin to fade. Monuments will still stand. The Israelites, one of the greatest mistakes that they made is they forgot who God was, what he had done for them, the freedom that he gave them. They forgot. Moses is before God here in Numbers chapter 14, and he's like pleading, like, God, please forgive them. Like, I know they're idiots. I know they've messed up. Like, I'm sorry. And this is what it says. It says, then the Lord said, I will forgive them as they have requested. But as surely as I live and as surely as the earth is filled with the Lord's glory, not one of these people will ever see that land. He's talking about the promised land. It says, they have all seen my glorious presence and the miraculous signs I perform both in Egypt and in the wilderness. But again and again, everybody say again. It says, again and again, they have tested me by refusing to listen to my voice. Can I challenge you with one thing? And this is like its own little sermon. Never, ever, 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 ever stop listening to the voice of God. You might be at a place where you're like, Seth, I don't hear the voice of God. Can I just challenge you to find yourself, carve out some time in your schedule and say, God, I'm listening. You turn the phone off, you sit in a quiet room, you close your eyes, and you focus on the Lord. Man, like some of you, that's just what you need for the stress in your life. You need to spend some alone time with God. You think you need another massage, right? You think you need another beach vacation. You need time with God. You need time alone with the Lord. And that's all I got to say about that one. But it says, they have seen all my glorious presence and the miraculous signs I performed both in Egypt and in the wilderness. But again and again, they have tested me by refusing to listen to my voice. They forgot what God had done. These are the same exact people. Can I remind you that they saw the plagues in Egypt. They walked across a sea on dry ground. They ate food that fell from the sky. They've seen some pretty cool stuff. Yet they forget. I challenge you to begin to catalog the things God has done for you by building a monument. by finding some way to memorialize what God's done for you. I don't know about you guys, but when Janae and I got married, we paid a lot of money to have somebody come out with a video camera. You know what I'm saying? Like, we paid a lot of money because we wanted to be able to watch a video and see it all back and see all the stuff that we missed. And we paid a lot of money to not only have a videographer, but to have a photographer. Anybody else in that same boat, right? Like, I didn't want just somebody walking around with an iPhone. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted it to be professional. I wanted it to look good. I wanted to build in something that it wasn't like, oh, my mom's gonna take a bunch of pictures with her iPhone, right? From 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't going to expect someone like that to capture and to help me remember the things that I wanted to remember. So we brought in some professionals, dropped some cash money because it was important to us to remember what's supposed to be the biggest day of your life. And it's so much fun when on our anniversary, we crack open that video. Really, it's digital. So we click on that video and we play it back and we watch the video and we see it all back and we are instantly taken back to those moments. Isn't it incredible when you see a photo, what it can do to your mind? Here's something else I love. I love my memories that pop up on Facebook. Like, I'm not talking about these memories, but I'm talking about like the memories that pop up on Facebook or Time Hop. Anybody use those things, right? And you see what happened on this day last year. These are built-in systems that allow us to remember moments that our brains will probably forget. You're like, okay, Seth, that's cool. How am I supposed to remember what God did for me? And I think something really cool is when God moves in your life, man, do like a video or something, right? Like, just get yourself talking about it in the moment. Because here's something I like to go back to in journaling that I've done before, is I like to go back and see the excitement in my words. And something great about technology now is you can video yourself and see the facial expression. You can see the emotions on my face, and I'm instantly brought back to the way that I felt in that moment, no matter how many years ago that it was. Instantly. But what's gonna happen is we're gonna forget. And when we forget, it begins to push us away, push us out of some of the things that I think God wants for us. I think God wants us to be good stewards of his miraculous signs, his things that he's showing us, the wonders that we find. And here's something that I think will help you today is this. When you forget what God has done, you're a lot less likely to see what God will do. When you can't even begin to recall the incredible things that he's done in your life, if you can't even recount the things that he's blessed you with or that time that he made something happen for you, when you've seen it happen, when we begin to be bad stewards of what he's done for us in our lives and we don't build something that's there and it's concrete and we come back to it and we see it again, like I'm telling you, all you've got to do is write something on your mirror with a dry erase marker. Get a journal and begin to go back through and read what he's doing. Find something, memorialize what he's done for you, what he's doing for you. That way you can come back to it later. And when I'm going through a waiting season, I love to remember what God did for me in the last season. When I forget, fear begins to seep in. When I can't recall the situation from 2 years ago, when God miraculously provided for me, I'm a lot more fearful now that he's not going to provide for me. When I've seen something incredible happen in front of me, usually it's the answer to the waiting season, right? Usually it's something that we've been waiting for, and we see God's hands, we see his fingerprints on what we've been waiting for and the things that we've expected. When we forget what he's done, we're less likely to see what he will do. And I don't know about you guys, I never want to stop seeing God move in my life. Not for one day, not for 1 minute. I want to see God's fingerprints on my everyday, normal, boring life. How can you catalog? How can you build something that you can come back to and you can remember when he helped you through that tough time? When you didn't know how you were gonna make it that month, the finances were like gone, right? But you've been faithful and you've been tithing. And he provided. We've been there. We've been there. I'm gonna read. Got 2 more verses for you. This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9. It says, but watch out. Be careful never to forget what you yourself have seen. Do not let these memories escape from your mind as long as you live, and be sure to pass them on to your children and grandchildren. Man, I don't know about you guys, I'm thankful that I grew up in a home that followed God. I grew up in a home that pointed me to Jesus. Maybe you grew up in a home similar to that. Maybe you grew up in a home that you read scripture and that you were prayed for and that you came to church. You found community. I don't know about you guys. I am so incredibly thankful that I've had parents that have told me what God has done in their lives. They didn't hide it. They didn't hide the bad times. They showed us everything. And they said, this is what we went through, but this is what God did. Foolish of us to think that we can see God's hands, we can see his fingerprints on our lives, but yet we hold it in here. Can I challenge you within your families, within your realm of influence? Can you voice your victory? Can you find a way to tell somebody about what God has done in your life, the things that he set you free from, the things that he's working on you in? Can you begin to be so excited about being stuck in a waiting season, yet you find victory in what he's doing in your life and how he's helping you become what he's doing, how he's stretching you, how he's growing you. And you find victory and you voice your victory. And it's not just some Facebook post, right? Because somebody's gonna hate on your Facebook post, let's be real, right? But you find someone that's a friend, that's a family member, that's a coworker that you can trust, and you tell them what God has done. That's the gospel. But we build something to help us remember. We voice it, we're vocal about it. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 35 says this, he showed you these things so you would know that the Lord is God and that there is no other. Couple questions I want to ask you today. What am I doing to constantly remember who God is? A lot of us wake up in the morning and we remember all the junk we got to do. We remember the circumstances that we find ourselves in. But what kind of a start to our day would we find if we are thinking on God's goodness? If we're putting our mind and fixing our eyes on Jesus? Second question, what monuments can I place in my life today to never forget what God has done for me? Today, I'm praying for you, and I'm believing God's absolute best, that no matter the season you find yourself in, I know that as I talk about this, there are very real things represented in this room, represented online today, that you are wading through right now. Some of you feel alone. And you're waiting to find real community. You're waiting to find that significant other. You're waiting and waiting and waiting, and you see your other friends get married, and you see everyone else, and they look happy, but you know what's going on right here, and it's wearing on you, and it's eating away at you, and your joy is gone. Find the wonder. Lean into God. What are you trying to teach me? There's people in this room, I guarantee you, somebody watching online that is struggling with infertility. I'm so sorry. My heart breaks for you. And I can only imagine what this waiting season feels like. And all of the emotions that are stirred up. and the lies of the enemy, that he would love for them to seep into who you are. And it chips away at how God's trying to help you become. And how God's trying to take a bad situation and turn it to good. I can see the enemy's motives and his tactics. And I want to tell you today, I want to speak truth over you today, that even through the waiting, there's wonder. Even through the hardest seasons, you can find God and he can show you what he's doing. For some of you have loved ones that they're sick, that they're struggling through cancer right now. And you're praying and you're believing for things to change. And you're waiting. You're like, if it could just happen. There's wonder. And I guarantee you, some of you, if you just begin to look up and see God and his fingerprints and how he's trying to work your waiting season, we don't have to let the waiting game play us. We can begin to leverage our waiting season and not allow it to be wasted. We can find wonder in the wander, and we can remember who he is by building monuments that help us come back and to remember and to memorialize who he is and what he's done for us. Hey, thanks again for being a part of what God's doing here at Seven City Church. We hope you are blessed by today's message. If you'd like to partner with us or get more information, you can go to our website, sevencitychurch.com. Be blessed. Take care.